The worst vitamin that causes neuropathy. Risk of nerve damage in your legs. Did you know some of the most common foods in your kitchen are wreaking havoc on your leg nerves? Ever felt numbness, tingling, or a weird sensation in your feet and never knew why? It could be neuropathy, and what you're eating might be making it all worse without you even realizing it. These foods seem harmless, but they inflame your body and cut off nutrition to your nerves. And get this, even a very popular fruit, when overeaten, can trigger these damages. But the worst part is at the end of this video. A vitamin, yes, a vitamin that's supposed to help, and it's causing direct damage to your nerves. It's in supplements, vitamin complexes, and even products sold as natural. And the scariest part, you might be taking this vitamin every day thinking you're doing your health a favor. Ready to change your diet and truly protect your nerves? Let's dive in. Number 16. White flour. Did you know that delicious warm French roll or that fluffy slice of cake could be contributing to weakening your nerves? Yep, white flour, found in common breads, cakes, and pastas, is one of the most consumed foods daily, and also one of the most problematic when it comes to neurological health. That's because it has a high glycemic index, which means it quickly turns into sugar in your bloodstream. And this excess glucose can cause silent inflammations that hit directly at your peripheral nervous system. The result? Increased risk of developing neuropathy, with symptoms like tingling, pain, and sensitivity in your legs and feet. This kind of inflammation caused by constant glycemic spikes interferes with nerve communication. Over time, those electrical signals that travel through our body become weaker or disordered. This process is progressive and can be exacerbated by a diet based on ultra-refined foods. The problem is that many people don't even notice this happening. Leg pains, that burning sensation in your feet, or even numbness are ignored or attributed to aging. But in reality, these could be warning signs that your nerves are crying out for help, and white flour might be at the center of the problem. Moreover, frequent consumption of refined flour contributes to insulin resistance, a factor directly linked to diabetic neuropathy. When the body begins to lose sensitivity to insulin, blood sugar levels remain high for longer periods. And this creates a toxic environment for the nerves. The nerve endings in the legs and feet are the first to feel this impact because they are furthest from the body center and receive less nutrition when there are circulatory problems. This explains why so many people with diabetes report pain, loss of sensitivity, and tingling in the lower limbs. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times a week you eat foods made from white flour? This reflection is essential, especially if you already feel the initial symptoms of neuropathy. The good news is that there are simple and healthy alternatives. Switching from French bread to a true whole grain version, for example, can help keep your sugar levels more stable. Switching out regular pastas for versions made with chickpea flour, lentils, or oats is also a way to better care for your nervous system. These are simple choices that yield concrete long-term results. And it's not about cutting everything out at once, but about transforming your dietary pattern gradually. As you reduce your consumption of white flour, your body begins to respond better with more energy and fewer discomfort symptoms in your legs. The feeling of lightness, improved circulation, and even mental clarity can be noticeable. Number 15. Sodas and artificial juices. Ever thought about what's inside that chilled glass of soda or that seemingly harmless box juice? Those sweet, colorful liquids are real traps for your nerve health. With a combination of excessive sugar, chemical additives, and artificial colorants, they promote widespread inflammation in the body. This inflammation does not spare the peripheral nervous system, directly affecting the nerves in your legs and feet. The result can be a significant worsening of the signs and symptoms of neuropathy. Sodas, for example, contain phosphoric acid, which alters the body's pH and impairs the absorption of essential nutrients for the nerves. Without nutrients like magnesium, vitamin B12, and vitamin B1, the body struggles to maintain the integrity of nerve fibers. Even though artificial juices might look natural on the packaging, they are loaded with sugar and almost no real nutritional value. They rapidly elevate blood glucose levels, which in the long run can trigger or exacerbate diabetic neuropathy. Moreover, frequent consumption of these beverages is linked to increased oxidative stress in the body. This means that nerve cells are exposed to a more toxic environment with higher production of free radicals. And free radicals damage the cellular structure, causing the degeneration of peripheral nerves. It's like the electrical wires that carry signals from the brain to the rest of the body are corroding, weakening gradually. This impairs simple movements, causes pain, and compromises sensitivity. Another concerning point is the habit of daily consumption. Many people drink sodas or artificial juices every day, unaware of the cumulative impact this creates. And it's not just a matter of diabetes. People without a diabetes diagnosis can also develop neuropathy due to poor dietary habits. The nerves in the legs and feet are particularly vulnerable to poor nutrition and elevated glucose. Therefore, cutting out these beverages is an urgent and necessary action. Number 14. Fried foods with reused oil. Ever caught that irresistible smell of frying on the street or at home and had your mouth water? Well, know that behind that tempting aroma might be one of the biggest dangers to your nerves. Fried foods made with reused oil are a real toxin bomb for the peripheral nervous system. When the oil is heated multiple times, it undergoes chemical transformations and starts producing harmful substances such as aldehydes and acrylamides. These toxic compounds attack nerves and blood vessels directly, impairing their function. These toxins affect the protective layer that coats the nerves, known as the myelin sheath. When this protection deteriorates, the electrical impulses that should flow freely begin to encounter obstacles. The result is numbness, tingling, sharp pains, and even loss of motor coordination. And don't think you need to eat fried foods every day to experience this impact. Even occasional consumption, if it's with reused oil, can trigger silent inflammations that affect your nervous system over time. The danger intensifies when these fried foods are part of the dietary routine, something common in quick snacks, fast foods, and street foods. In addition to toxins, these foods are high in saturated fats and sodium, which compromise blood circulation. And when blood doesn't circulate well, nerves don't receive enough oxygen and nutrients. This impairs the regeneration and maintenance of nerve cells, contributing to the progression of neuropathy. Have you noticed how, after a very fatty meal, your body seems slower and heavier? That's the immediate effect of excess fat on metabolism. Now imagine that effect repeating for weeks, months, or years. Nerves weaken, metabolism slows down, and symptoms worsen. And the saddest part is that many people don't even make the connection between their habit of consuming fried foods and their worsening nerve health. But there are healthier alternatives for those who love crunchy foods. Oven-baked, air fryer preparations, and even grilled foods with a crust can satisfy your palate without the damage of fried foods in reused oil. Besides preserving nerve health, these methods better maintain the nutritional value of foods. Number 13. Processed meats. Ham, salami, sausage, bacon. These foods, so common in daily meals, hide a serious risk for your nerve health. Processed meats are high in nitrites and nitrates, substances used for preservation and color enhancement, but which can cause inflammation in the body. When consumed frequently, these substances promote an inflammatory environment that harms blood vessels and impairs circulation. And poor circulation is one of the main triggers for the onset of peripheral neuropathy. Additionally, these meats are loaded with saturated fats, which increase levels of bad cholesterol and hinder blood flow in the small vessels that feed the nerves. With less oxygen and nutrients, the nerves lose their ability to conduct impulses properly. This is why the constant consumption of these meats is linked to symptoms such as burning in the feet, needle sensations in the legs, and progressive loss of sensitivity. The effect is slow but devastating if there's no change. Another critical point is the chemical preservatives these meats contain. They can directly interfere with nerve function and increase the production of free radicals, unstable molecules that damage nerve cells. The resulting oxidative stress further weakens the peripheral nervous system, accelerating the symptoms of neuropathy. This cumulative action is especially dangerous for people with diabetes, hypertension, or kidney diseases, groups at higher risk of developing neuropathy. Do you often include ham or sausage in your breakfast? Or maybe use bacon in lunch? These habits, as routine as they may seem, are undermining the health of your nervous system with every meal. It's crucial to be extra cautious if you already feel any symptoms in the nerves of your legs or feet. The sooner you reduce the consumption of these meats, the better your response to treatment and prevention of neuropathy will be. But how to make this substitution practically? Invest in healthier protein sources like grilled chicken, eggs, fish, or legumes. These foods don't overload the body with toxins and also provide nutrients that strengthen the nerves, like the B-complex and magnesium. This way, you continue to eat well while at the same time protecting your neurological health. And in the last chapter, the worst vitamin that can cause neuropathy will be revealed. Number 12. Excessive alcohol. You might have heard of alcoholic neuropathy, but do you really know what's behind it? Excessive alcohol consumption is one of the most classic causes of damage to peripheral nerves. That's because alcohol directly interferes with the absorption of B-complex vitamins, especially B1, B6, and B12, nutrients essential for maintaining nerve health. Without these elements, the nerves begin to fail, causing symptoms such as tingling, pain, burning, and muscle weakness in the legs. Besides impairing nutrient absorption, alcohol is also toxic to the nerves themselves. It alters the function of the mitochondria, which are the structures responsible for providing energy to cells. Without enough energy, nerves deteriorate more easily. And the problem is even more severe because at the same time that it damages the nerves, alcohol reduces the body's ability to regenerate. It's a vicious cycle. More alcohol, fewer vitamins, more nerve damage. Excessive alcohol also harms the liver, which is responsible for metabolizing toxins. With the liver compromised, the accumulation of circulating toxins in the blood affects nerve conduction. This is especially concerning for those with a genetic predisposition or other conditions like diabetes. Even in people without a diagnosis, prolonged use of alcohol can be the trigger for the manifestation of the first symptoms of neuropathy. And we're not just talking about alcoholism. Even moderate consumption, when continuous, can cause damage, especially if the diet is deficient in vitamins. Alcoholic neuropathy develops over the years and is often neglected until the symptoms become debilitating. Number 11. Industrialized sweets. They are everywhere, in supermarkets, bakeries, parties, afternoon snacks. Industrialized sweets have become a constant in the lives of many people, but what few know is that these foods are among the main villains of nerve health. Combining refined sugar, bad fats, colorants, preservatives, and emulsifiers, they create the perfect scenario for inflammations that directly affect the peripheral nervous system. These products raise blood sugar levels quickly and intensely, which is extremely harmful to the nerves. Constant exposure to high blood sugar levels damages the vessels that nourish the nerve fibers, causing progressive symptoms like numbness, tingling, burning, and pain in the extremities. Moreover, sugar spikes favor oxidative stress, which weakens the integrity of nerve cells and accelerates the degenerative process. Another critical factor is the burden these foods place on the liver. As the organ responsible for metabolizing toxins, the liver suffers from the excess of chemical substances present in industrialized sweets. With the liver weakened, the body loses its ability to properly eliminate metabolic waste, indirectly affecting the nerves. The result is an inflammatory cascade that affects the entire body, with effects deeply felt in the legs and feet. Do you feel like having a sweet treat after lunch? Or do you usually consume desserts every day? These habits, as common as they are silently sabotaging your neurological health. And the most worrying part is that most people ignore these signs until the damage is advanced. Sugar, in excess, is not only a threat to the pancreas, it attacks your nerves as well. But it's possible to re-educate your taste buds and adopt smart substitutions. How about trying homemade sweets made with fruits, like mashed bananas with pure cocoa? Or using dates to sweeten cakes and desserts? These options are naturally sweet, rich in fibers, and don't overload your nerves like industrialized products do. Switching from bakery sweets to a homemade option might seem small, but it makes a huge difference in your health over the long term. Number 10. Fast food and frozen meals. Convenience is a disguised trap. Fast foods and frozen meals are part of the routine for millions of people looking for quick meals. But this modern comfort comes at a high price, progressive damage to the nervous system. These foods are rich in trans fats, sodium, chemical additives, and empty calories. This combination promotes widespread inflammation in the body, particularly affecting the microcirculation that nourishes peripheral nerves. The bad fats present in these products interfere with blood fluidity, harming the oxygenation of nerve tissues. Meanwhile, excess sodium contributes to fluid retention and increased blood pressure, further complicating nutrient transport to the nerves. The result is uncomfortable sensations like tingling, pain, and numbness, especially in the legs and feet, places where neuropathy damage first manifests. The impact is also metabolic. Regular consumption of fast food is linked to increased insulin resistance, even in non-diabetic individuals. This causes frequent fluctuations in glucose levels, which act like poison on nerve endings. And since these foods almost offer no B-complex vitamins or magnesium, the body becomes even more vulnerable to nerve degeneration. The problem goes beyond being overweight, it's a neurological issue. Industrialized frozen foods like lasagnas and hamburgers also contain preservatives like nitrites and phosphates, which overload the liver. And when the liver is too busy with toxins, it fails to assist in the nutritional balance necessary for nerve health. This cycle of inflammation and deficiency worsens over time, making neuropathy increasingly difficult to control. Therefore, swapping these foods for homemade preparations, even simple ones, already represents a powerful step. And if you've made it this far, keep going, because in the last chapter, I'll reveal which vitamin, when misused, is highly dangerous and silently causes neuropathy. You won't want to miss this essential information. Number 9. Excessive salt. Salt is in practically everything we eat, and in excess, it becomes one of the biggest villains of the peripheral nervous system. While necessary in small amounts to maintain the body's electrolytic balance, excessive salt intake has a devastating effect on blood circulation. It promotes hypertension, which in turn compromises the vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients to the nerves, especially at the extremities. With compromised circulation, the nerves don't receive what they need to function properly. This causes a slowdown in the conduction of nerve impulses, generating symptoms like numbness and loss of sensitivity. Over time, continuous hypertension can even cause permanent nerve damage, making regeneration and treatment of neuropathy difficult. And the most alarming part is that many people have high blood pressure and don't even know it. Industrialized foods, processed meats, ready-made seasonings, and even common bread contain large amounts of hidden salt. The body accumulates excess sodium without you realizing it until symptoms start to appear: swelling, tingling, leg fatigue, and a sensation that the feet are asleep. The poor nutrition of nerves caused by salt directly affects the quality of life and can be a decisive factor in the development of neuropathy. Salt also interferes with the body's mineral balance. When there's too much sodium, there's less room for beneficial minerals like potassium and magnesium, which are essential for proper nerve function. This imbalance favors further episodes of cramps, pain, and discomforts in the lower limbs. It's like the nerves are being suffocated, losing their ability to respond to natural stimuli. The good news is that reducing salt in your diet can bring immediate benefits. Natural seasonings like garlic, onion, fresh herbs, and spices such as turmeric and cumin not only add flavor, but also fight inflammations. Over time, the taste adapts, and the body responds with more lightness, less swelling, and more energy. It's a transformation worth making. Number 8. Milk chocolate with sugar. Milk chocolate seems harmless, even comforting. But for those who want to protect their nerves and avoid neuropathy, this combination of sugar and processed fat is a tasty trap. With a high content of refined sugar, it quickly raises blood glucose, which, as we've seen, is highly detrimental to the peripheral nervous system. This abrupt elevation harms microcirculation and increases inflammation in the nerves. Besides sugar, milk chocolate generally contains powdered milk, hydrogenated vegetable fat, and emulsifiers, a perfect recipe to overload the liver and create a toxic environment in the body. These substances cause an increase in oxidative stress, damaging the structure of nerve cells. And when the body enters this constant inflammatory state, the symptoms of neuropathy become increasingly difficult to control. Frequent consumption of these chocolates also stimulates food addiction. This happens because sugar activates the brain's reward center, creating a dependency cycle that leads to excessive consumption. This unregulated eating pattern is one of the factors that most contribute to the worsening of neuropathy, especially among diabetics. A simple daily square can be more harmful than it seems. Many people don't know, but milk chocolate with sugar can also cause insulin spikes and increase the risk of insulin resistance, even in people who have not yet been diagnosed with diabetes. And as we know, imbalance in insulin production is a direct factor in nerve degeneration. What seems like an occasional treat can become a chronic problem. But not everything is lost. Pure cocoa is actually a great ally for health when consumed in moderation. Rich in antioxidants like flavonoids, it can help reduce inflammations and improve circulation. Number 7. Ultra-processed snacks and chips. Colorful, crunchy, and convenient, industrialized snacks and ultra-processed chips are a daily temptation. But behind so much convenience and flavor lies a true enemy of nerve health. These foods contain acrylamides, a toxic substance formed during the process of frying at high temperatures, which has a neurotoxic effect. Over time, continuous consumption of these products can cause inflammations in the peripheral nervous system, particularly affecting the legs and feet. Besides acrylamides, these products are loaded with chemical additives such as colorants, preservatives, and flavor enhancers, which overload the liver and generate oxidative stress. These compounds are not recognized by the body as real food, and this triggers chronic inflammatory reactions. When this inflammation reaches the nerves, it interferes with the conduction of electrical impulses, generating typical neuropathy symptoms such as tingling, burning, and a sensation of numbness. The great danger of these snacks is unconscious consumption. They are everywhere, in the afternoon snack, at parties, in moments of distraction. And because they are highly palatable, it's easy to eat large amounts without realizing it. This repetitive intake is exactly what makes the impact so harmful. Each bag, each handful, contributes to a more toxic and inflammatory internal environment, the opposite of what your nerves need to stay healthy. Another worrying factor is that being rich in bad fats and sodium, these products worsen blood circulation, making it harder for oxygen and nutrients to reach the nerves. This reduces the body's ability to regenerate and aggravates the risk of permanent damage to nerve endings. It's like slowly suffocating the communication pathways of your body, impairing both mobility and sensitivity. Number 6. Industrialized ice creams. Refreshing and tasty, industrialized ice creams are seen as an innocent treat, especially on hot days. But this sweet and creamy dessert carries a set of ingredients dangerous to nerve health. Packed with refined sugar, trans fats, emulsifiers, and colorants, these products create an inflammatory environment in the body. And as we've seen, constant inflammation is one of the main culprits behind the emergence of peripheral neuropathy. The high sugar content in ice creams raises blood glucose, causing spikes that directly affect the small vessels that nourish the nerves. At the same time, trans fats interfere with blood fluidity and block good circulation. This combo unbalances metabolism and harms the oxygenation of nerve tissues. The result appears as uncomfortable symptoms in the legs, such as burning, numbness, and a sensation of needles. Another problem is the artificial emulsifiers and stabilizers, which hinder digestion and overload the liver. An overburdened liver is less efficient in filtering toxins and maintaining the nutritional balance needed for nerve health. And without these nutrients like vitamins B1, B6, B12, and magnesium, the nerves lose their structure and ability to regenerate. Over time, even healthy individuals can develop signs of neuropathy just from the buildup of food toxins. Do you usually eat ice cream as a reward? Know that this habit, repeated frequently, might be silently accelerating the wear and tear on your nervous system. Even light or diet versions are problematic, as they replace sugar with artificial sweeteners that also have inflammatory potential and negatively affect the gut, an essential organ for nutrient absorption that protects the nerves. Number 5. Canned foods. Quick, practical, and long-lasting. Canned foods seem like an ideal solution for busy day-to-day life. However, this convenience comes at a high cost to your nerve health. Many of these products contain heavy metals such as aluminum and tin, which over time accumulate in the body and affect the nervous system. Continued exposure to these toxic substances is a recognized factor in the development of neurological diseases and the worsening of peripheral neuropathy. Besides heavy metals, the preservatives used in cans, such as monosodium glutamate and nitrates, are also associated with inflammatory processes. These additives alter how neurotransmitters work and hinder the regeneration of nerve fibers. This means that the more you consume canned foods, the more your body fights against a hostile environment, and the less it can protect and repair damaged nerves. Another important factor is the nutritional deficiency of these foods. Despite the appearance of real food, canned options usually lose much of their vitamins and minerals during the preservation process. This means that in addition to carrying toxins, they do not offer the nutritional support necessary to maintain nerve health. The body needs nutrients like vitamin B12, magnesium, zinc, and vitamin E, all lacking in these products. Have you ever stopped to observe how many cans are in your cupboard? Corn, peas, sardines, ready-made feijoada, sauces. Each one of these cans may be contributing to a dangerous buildup of toxins in your body. And the more your body tries to defend against this, the more energy it spends, leaving the nerves unprotected. In the medium to long term, this constant exposure can accelerate nerve degeneration. Number 4. Overripe bananas. The banana is a nutritious fruit, rich in potassium, fibers, and essential vitamins. But like everything in life, even what is healthy can become a problem when consumed in excess, especially in the case of overripe bananas and in people sensitive to glucose. When very ripe, the banana concentrates more simple sugars, rapidly elevating blood sugar levels. This is particularly concerning for diabetics or people with insulin resistance, who are precisely the groups most vulnerable to peripheral neuropathy. The constant elevation of glucose causes a series of inflammatory reactions in the body, which hit the peripheral nerves hard. The result can be a worsening of neuropathy symptoms, tingling, pain, loss of sensitivity, and even a sensation of electric shock in the legs. Although many people consider the banana an ally for the nervous system, and it truly can be, the key point is in the quantity and timing of consumption. Eating several ripe bananas throughout the day can turn this friendly food into a silent enemy. Another important point is the glycemic impact of ripe banana when consumed at night. During sleep, metabolism slows down, causing glucose to remain in circulation for longer. This worsens nerve inflammation and can impair the cellular regeneration process at night. In addition, the excess natural sugar from the banana contributes to oxidative stress, another factor that weakens nerve structures over time. If you like bananas, you don't need to completely eliminate them from your routine. The key is moderation and choosing the point of ripeness. Number 3. Industrialized sweetbread. Industrialized sweetbread is one of the most dangerous foods for those who wish to preserve the health of their nerves, especially those in the legs and feet. It is a real bomb of refined carbohydrates, sugar, hydrogenated fats, and preservatives. This combination is highly inflammatory and has devastating effects on metabolism, raising blood sugar and compromising circulation. And as we've seen, where there's poor circulation, the nerves suffer. These products have a high glycemic index, which means they cause rapid spikes in blood glucose. The body, in response, releases large amounts of insulin to try to balance the levels. This frequent glycemic fluctuation is one of the main triggers for the onset of peripheral neuropathy, especially in those with a history of diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance. Each bite of an industrialized sweetbread is, in practice, a blow to your nerves. Additionally, the hydrogenated fats present in these breads harm the elasticity of blood vessels and hinder the transport of oxygen and nutrients to the nerves. This causes them to weaken and become more susceptible to injuries. The chemical preservatives and stabilizers also overload the liver and directly affect the nutritional balance of the body. This imbalance is especially harmful to those who already suffer from symptoms like tingling or loss of sensitivity. Many people consume this type of bread for breakfast or as an afternoon snack, believing they are just satisfying a craving. But when this consumption becomes frequent, the damage is real and accumulative. The inflammation generated by these foods doesn't disappear in minutes. It remains active in the body and reaches the nerves silently and persistently. Over the years, this common dietary choice can cost dearly in terms of mobility and well-being. Therefore, the tip is simple: avoid industrialized sweetbreads. Opt for homemade versions with more natural ingredients, or choose options without sugar and refined flour. A conscious choice at breakfast can be the start of a revolution in your nerve health. Number 2. Condensed milk. Delicious, versatile, and widely used in desserts, condensed milk is one of the most beloved and, at the same time, most dangerous foods for nerve health. It is a highly concentrated combination of sugar and lactose, forming a product with a very high glycemic index. In just 1 tablespoon, there is an alarming amount of sugar capable of sharply elevating blood sugar and causing silent damage to the peripheral nervous system. This intense and repetitive elevation of blood sugar causes micro-injuries to the nerves, especially in the extremities of the body, such as legs and feet. This is because the vessels responsible for irrigating these regions are thinner and more fragile, being the first to suffer from excess sugar in the blood. In addition, condensed milk contains milk proteins that, in sensitive individuals, can generate intestinal inflammation, directly affecting the absorption of important nutrients for the nerves. Another critical point is that this food contributes to insulin resistance, further aggravating the condition of those already dealing with glycemic imbalances. Constant consumption of condensed milk puts the body in a constant state of metabolic alert, making cellular regeneration and overall neurological health more difficult. Because it is extremely palatable, condensed milk generates a cycle of food dependence. This leads many people to consume the product frequently, in sweet recipes, or even plain. And unfortunately, each time it is ingested, a new wave of inflammation is triggered, further damaging the peripheral nerves. The momentary pleasure of sweetness turns into pain and altered sensitivity over the years. The best choice: avoid condensed milk whenever possible. Look for natural alternatives such as fruit purees, dates, coconut milk, and healthy sweeteners for your recipes. But get ready, because in the next chapter, the last one of this video, you will discover the great villain hidden among the supplements, the worst vitamin when consumed in excess. Number 1. Excessive vitamin B6. It may seem shocking, but a vitamin normally associated with nerve health can become a real threat when consumed in excess. We're talking about vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine. Essential for proper neurological function, this vitamin participates in the production of neurotransmitters and helps in the conduction of electrical impulses in the nerves. However, high and prolonged doses above daily needs can cause exactly the opposite of what they promise: peripheral neuropathy. B6 toxicity occurs because in excess, it begins to damage the myelin sheaths, the protective layer that coats the nerves. Without this protection, nerve impulses get lost, become confused, or even stop being transmitted. The result is a progressive scenario of tingling, numbness, burning, and even loss of strength in the legs. And the most alarming part is that these symptoms can take a long time to disappear, even after stopping the supplement. The danger increases when supplementation is done without medical guidance, something quite common nowadays. Many people use vitamin complexes thinking that too much vitamin does no harm. In the case of B6, this is a dangerous mistake. Doses above 100 milligrams per day for long periods are enough to cause neurotoxicity. And many supplements sold as natural or for energy contain amounts well above that. Another problem is that the symptoms of B6 toxicity are easily confused with other causes of neuropathy. This complicates the diagnosis and delays the correct treatment. Many people spend months or even years suffering from pain and tingling without imagining that the problem is due to an excess of a vitamin. That's why it's so important to respect the daily recommended doses and always seek professional guidance before starting any supplementation. If you're already using supplements that contain B6, immediately check the dosage and frequency. Talk to a doctor or nutritionist to assess whether there is a real need to continue with the product. In many cases, just the diet provides all the B6 your body needs. Sources like chicken, bananas, chickpeas, tuna, and sweet potatoes are enough to ensure the necessary intake of this vitamin, without the risk of overload if you eat properly. And if you want to continue receiving the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel, because it exists for one reason: to make you a healthier person with better quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video that now appears on your screen, I reveal the leaf that fights diabetes, inflammations, high cholesterol, and even ulcers. Click on the screen and check it out. So, see you in the next video.